One network. Safaricom. Popote ulipo.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
To see you, and karibu sana.
Asante sana.
We're looking at questions today, legal questions, but also information questions, and so conversations around, what happens with justice gaps. And there's a big topic. We could talk about it for years, but, we'll try to see what we can do in an hour. So thanks for coming. But we're going to get you to interpret something anyway. Dennis will let you know what that is and where it's from. And we'd love to hear your interpretation.
We're in Ivory Coast, the country that gave us one of the best footballers, Didier Drogba. Which football team do you support?
Here we go.
That's a long conversation. The best thing is to skip it.
To skip it, eh?
No, that's the lawyer talking, not the journalist.
That's the lawyer talking,
That's not a journalist talking, it's the lawyer, yeah.
But then again, so let's put football aside. But if you love chocolates, remember 40% of the world cocoa that produces chocolate comes from Ivory Coast. They also have coffee, and they border Liberia, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and the Atlantic Ocean as well. But let's go to the proverb. The toad does not run in the day for nothing. The toad does not run in the day for nothing. How would you interpret that?
Wow, that's a difficult one. But there's always seasons for everything. There's a good reason why you said it does not run
in the day, during the day for nothing.
For nothing. Yeah, because the day has its own, there's light, there's everything. So things happen in their own time. I think at the appropriate time, at the right time, things happen. I want to believe that is the case with the toad.
Okay. Actually, that's interesting because when we see the toad running during the day, you think something is coming. But then also, you shouldn't be running in the day. You should be running at the time that is appointed for you. Yeah. Abi, that's interesting.
There is a time appointed for everything. The Bible says, I'm not quite a preacher, but I know.
The man to your left reminded us of that same verse. There's a time and season.
He's a preacher.
This guy here.
Bishop, don't joke.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Kenya's justice gap is what we're looking at today, and even if we title it something, that means that there might be an issue. And no court for international crimes is a question that we're asking, but if we start with Kenya's justice gap, let's look into it. Is there a justice gap in Kenya, whether we're looking at what happens within the country or whether we're looking at what happens from Kenya to other jurisdictions? Is there a justice gap in Kenya?
There's a gap. There's always been a gap. I just told you that I was admitted in May, and you'll be surprised the number of advocates in this country. We are around 25,000 since that is the number that I have, 25,000 plus. So, and when you look at the number of the population of this country, the disputes, the things which happen in our societies, you only have 25,000 advocates, and those are the ones admitted ever since. So the number of advocates, obviously, is quite low. So even when you look at, in terms of the advocates, the number of advocates alone, you have serious gaps. But also, of course, now the laws, the number of judges per, the population of the country. Gaps are many. Even in terms of implementation, justice is a whole. When you say justice is really a whole, you're talking about so many things. Administration of justice, the whole justice sector is it involves police, it involves the DPP, the prisons, and so on and so forth. So the gaps are wide in terms of the law, the culture. Kenyans themselves, many of us don't really obey laws. We are forced into this arrangement of a country, of a nation where we have to cede some of our rights, so that we are in a society, and many people, of course, impunity is really a problem, a challenge in this country. People don't obey laws. We start from there, the people themselves. But you also have weak laws. You have laws which need a lot of updating. You have very many dormant laws. You have issues of training capacity for the judges, judicial officers, and even advocates like myself. and so on and so forth. So the gaps are wide. The gaps are really, really wide domestically, and as you go, even begin to venture out into international crimes and international law.
And yet, there's an entire judicial system. There are magistrates, there are courts, different levels, whether you're talking about high courts, supreme courts, whether you're talking about your courts that specialized, labor courts, industrial courts. And we're saying that there's so many gaps. Are we saying that the people who have been hired are inadequate? Or are we saying that the numbers that are required then outweigh those who have been put in those positions?
No, the gaps are... The lack of numbers is one thing, but also there's issues of quality of the people that you are appointing. Recently, you have seen our senior Nelson Harvey on a campaign against corruption in judiciary. So you see, that's an aspect of quality, the quality of the people that we are hiring, but also the quality also of the laws that we are talking about, the laws that we are implementing as a country, and also the commitment of the country towards justice. Ordinary citizens, not so ordinary citizens. Many people are not committed to upholding the rule of law. I saw the other day a lot of questions on judges who have asked for bribes, who are facilitating court matters, of course, upon being paid. So the gaps are many. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not one line of you can look it in all the directions, from the people themselves, judiciary itself, practitioners, the people who are processing the justice issues, like advocates themselves. So there are many issues: gaps, corruption, and lack of proper training, lack of commitment. What I'm talking about, and many, and so on and so forth. There.
So you'd find that among Kenyans, you find you have an issue that needs to be prosecuted in court, but there is the question of access, and access here comes in different ways. First of all is Kenyans are afraid, am I able to afford a lawyer? Then there is also the other aspect of, look at the population we have and the number of courts that we have. So you find many have to travel long distances, and most of the time one would just say, we'll just discuss it as was there and find a way around it, or just let it go, even when it's a matter that can be canvassed in court very well. So just address the matter of siwezi afford lawyer bana wacha story ikufe, or the court is far, I might as well just find a way of dealing with this at a local level and just let it slide.
Yeah, but Dennis, since 2010 and even before that, there is people are very litigious. People want to take every matter to court. That's part of the problem. There are many ways of solving issues. Here at Standard, there are many. There are caucuses. You can have people who can talk and arbitrate on some of your issues, mediate. And the Constitution since 2010 really encourages alternative dispute resolution, including traditional ones that we used to have in the villages. So you really don't have to run to court. But we are not saying that people should not go to court. They should be able to go to court if they feel they need to go to court, or they are not adequately able to solve their disputes. But in our society, starting from a family level, there are many ways of solving disputes. Families have a lot of disputes, but you scale up from the family level, you find now even more disputes. But also at the same time, there are many mechanisms of solving disputes other than the courts. The courts ideally should be the last place of resort, because of the reasons I've alluded in terms of capacity issues for the judiciary. Since 2010, actually, the judiciary has done a tremendous job. I'm not speaking for them. I don't hold brief for them. But we have observed. I'm a journalist. I'm an advocate. I've observed a number of judges increasing, a number of court stations increasing. But also they try to deploy technology ever since COVID, also many virtual hearings and so on and so forth. But also the number of advocates is increasing. Yeah, but we have so many other people who can help solve disputes, including the man on my my left here, my left who is a preacher. He can solve. Preacher should be able to solve some of our problems. Yeah, they should listen to you. You don't have to jump the courts for some of the disputes you go. One time I did my judicial attachment in Makadara, and I saw so many. I was really shocked. That was shocking to me. In fact, I wrote about it, being the journalist I am.
Yeah.
I saw so many disputes which are totally irrelevant. Well, not irrelevant, but not worth reporting to Makadara every morning.
Like what, for example?
When you go to Makadara, you know, these things of someone has stolen my 2,000 bob from my M-Pesa and so on and so forth. Many, and even family disputes where you feel people is a question of this child and this uncle or this father, they clearly have serious issues which stretch back. You know, not the issue like the uncle is claiming you stole the phone. But when you listen to them, the anger within, I was really shocked. And they would come to Makadara every morning. And you know, Makadara is a very interesting place. You go there, and in the morning, people have prayers. You know, you people, the preacher people.
You know that time has started, right?
they have prayer sessions in the morning. So, and then Makadara sometimes it gets so full, traffic offenses. So sometimes you are in court and you'll be called out. You know, so Nzao Musao, Dennis Aseto, and then you are taking plea from the corridors. You are so many of you.
Oh, wow.
The place is full. So
we're talking about a situation today where even now at this time you go to Makadara and there are people standing outside for these cases that you talk about that could be handled otherwise.
Precisely. And that's what I'm saying with the society, the systems, the mechanism of our preacher people and many others, just the family level, the way you used to have elders, you know, this guy will solve my problem or will listen to me. If I have a case against my parents or my relatives, they should be able to listen. But people don't do that nowadays. They run to court. So you want to you look for an advocate. We are so many of us, and then you go to court. The matter drags forever because of this no more. You know, the judicial process, the justice process itself is very meticulous. So you cannot skip certain things. You really have justice has to be served, to be done, but also seen to be done. So you have to listen to people, give them time. The process drags, and then you complain. These courts are.
But Wakili, right there then lies the gap in terms of we have alternative mechanisms for solving disputes, and perhaps Kenyans are not aware of all these other mechanisms that are available, and perhaps then how do we fill that gap and ensure that not everything comes to court, including those that ought to be discussed outside
the court nowadays. They have all these things called court annex mediations. Many advocates are really training and practicing mediation, arbitration outside the formal, within the court structure, but they are doing it on the side. So many of us are, you could say, judges. We are judging matters outside the normal court system, but annexed. Sometimes you have to register what you have agreed in court. So it's happening already. But we are saying also more education, more civic education, more awareness needs to be spread so that people know that you really, truly don't need to take a matter to court if you have other avenues which are available to us to be able to sort out the matters so that you don't also clog the system and then we will complain, all of us, that this is just things are dragging for too long. But you do not have enough judicial officers. You do not have proper technology. Our courts sometimes are very. If you go to registries, files and so on, you know, it's a whole process. It's a system issue.
And is that the reason why? Because today, the Star has a story, the headline here. There's this Mutumba Granny's 20-year fight for justice. So they go to Milimani Law Courts yesterday over the missing file in a case that has been pending for 20 years. And this dispute involved the group and the National Police Service. I had a court case, I think 2 weeks ago. And I was ready, I was present. Then all of a sudden, file ipatikani. So the case has to move to October, towards the end of October. This situation of files missing has always been a mystery.
It has improved, actually. I mean, you remember the matter that was in the public domain for the longest time 2 weeks ago. The matter of Kungu Muigai, there was an issue of something which was missing, a file which was missing. Here is a file which is missing. And those issues have always been there. They have improved nowadays. At least you know some. It's not as it used to be in the 90s or in the 80s, files still miss. Like you say, this one is missing, but they can be, restructured. They can be. You can how do I put it?
Is it missing, or somebody just
Somebody takes it.
takes the file?
I take your information. I'm informed. If someone has taken, then that should be the case. I don't know what has happened. But obviously, what you're alluding, people are Kenyans. Us, we are Kenyans. We are very strange people. Sometimes we are corrupt. People steal files. That's obvious. People do that, or they hide files. I saw, but also matters drag in for other reasons. I saw the other day, actually the day before yesterday, there was a quito of sorts. The Matiang'i, the Miguna, you remember the Miguna debacle, which took place in 2018, and there was a conviction. I think Matiang'i, the former CS, was convicted of contempt, and he was told to pay some amount, blah blah blah, and I saw now that was 2018. Now it's 2025.
Yes.
He has just won the appeal or so. I mean, I'm not quite sure whether he won, but Nelson, have you had another view at it? But you can imagine a matter for 2018. The appeal has just succeeded since 2018. And probably, I don't know, I hear that the former CS wants to run for public office. And you can now, your guess is as good as mine. Why a matter like that would now be, it would be now acquitted
Suddenly, all of a sudden,
I don't know.
out of the blue.
I could be wrong, but that surprised me.
Sure, you could be, but there's nothing like coincidence in some of these matters, as we are told,
and especially in politics,
right? And like even when you want to think about things like happenstance, if it actually does, just because of circumstances happen. So then, is it deliberate? Are some of these things deliberate? Because we can talk about the law and we can wrap it all up in the legalese, but then there's the reality that's hitting us in the face every day. That don't we see some of these things as almost deliberate? That a case should drag for 20 years. There's something that somebody doesn't want to face. That an appeal should be strung up in the courts for 5 years, and then suddenly, Gafla bin vu, as we often say, then suddenly an appeal has been heard. When it then is very convenient for the individual who is in the throes of that appeal to then be acquitted of any kind of wrongdoing. Is it deliberate? These things that we see.
Let me surprise you and tell you my experience again in Makadara, where I was doing my judicial attachment. I was the magistrate, the resident magistrate I was attached to. I will never forget that. It surprised me. It was like it hit me. It's really shook me that judicial officers, judges, actually want to facilitate a quick resolution of a dispute. That I remember that shocked me because I always used to hear the way we hear, judiciary, those people are very slow, blah blah blah, all those things. They don't want matters just drag forever and so on. And then the magistrate I was attached to, she's called Honorable Malingo, I think. She was always insisting on very close dates, and the litigants themselves would push the dates very far away. Like now it's right now it's September.
Yes. So
someone picks the magistrate wants a date before December or even the next month. She's available. Then us who have the disputes want to pick dates in May next year. And you know what that means? By May next year, maybe the magistrate will have been transferred. There's a new magistrate, so you have to, basically
start again.
All those things. And matters, very simple things like a mention. A mention, you are just coming to court to say, to report what we have done or to get direction on. So people want to pick mention dates for next year, Feb. And next week, the court is sitting. People always say, of course, my people, now being an advocate, they say, next week I'm busy, I have another matter. But a mention where you're just reporting, maybe did you file the affidavits, blah, blah, all those things, should be easy. So my point is...
Before you make that point, why would... So if the magistrate wants to hear the mention or close a case as soon as possible, why would they then drag it to, for example, next year? Is it legal fees they keep... What's the point?
You're speaking to the wrong man because I am a newly admitted advocate, so I do not have a lot of experience.
Who has been through the annals of the system?
In your experience, in your experience covering this, and you're touched there, in your own observation, you're trying to figure out, okay, the reason of things. So why would they want to push? Is it to collect more evidence? Is it what would be the motivation, in your opinion?
They are, different. Like what you're saying could be one of them. I would imagine maybe someone wants to drag the matter for either financial gains, but also it could be for sure that they are committed. They are elder advocates are very busy people. They have a lot of cases they are handling. Practitioners who are in active practice, unlike me, they have a lot of matters. Sometimes you go to the offices and you see, they have like many screens because they are appearing in different courts at the same time, and so on and so forth. But generally, also at the same time, it's not just the advocates. I'm not blaming the advocates alone. There are many people, the people who have taken the matters themselves are not available, or they are busy, or they are not. Or the other side doesn't want the matter to drag. So the court has to be very case management. But you really have to manage your cases so that you make sure that they're heard in good time. And lately, I am now a member of the Media Complaints Commission, so I've seen the same things. The matters we adjudicate, I see some of the times people, advocates appearing before us. We should take closer dates. Ideally, if we are all working in concert, we should be able to resolve some of these things very, very fast. Yeah. But it is also true that many other cases are also resolved very fast. I mean, if you follow the process, if all of you have, you have the spirit, you really want the matter solved, you move very fast, all of you. The judiciary will facilitate you. There's a case I filed last year. We filed last year with a colleague of mine about the same matter of the Media Complaint Commission. And we filed it in July last year. And by May, it was completely solved. And we proceeded to implement the decision of the court. So it's possible to have matters done quickly.
Yeah, so Wakili, there is this issue in terms of how judiciary runs its affairs. And one of the ways in terms of efficiency of judiciary has always been about funding, especially from the exchequer government. How has that affected how judiciary works in terms of dispensation of justice to Kenyans? Because every other year, you find the funds meant for judiciary keeps reducing, keeps going down. How does that affect the overall performance of the judiciary, in your opinion?
It affects a lot in terms of the quality of what we are seeing, what is coming through from the judges. Judges need a lot of training. Magistrates need training. You also need many court stations. I just gave you the example of Makadara. If you go to Makadara, you really get it's a movie. You can shoot a movie there. The things which happen in Makadara are very interesting. She appears to know some of them because you are called from outside. It's full. It's a small court. That's what I'm saying. And you to get justice where you are not even seeing the magistrate who is calling out your name. You are in the corridor and all of you have to shout "Nzao, Nzao, Nzao," so that you pass the message. It's really a mess. So it affects the quality. It affects the issues of access to justice, training, and so on and so forth. So it's a mess. It's a mess, and it has been happening, of course, because of political intrigue. Sometimes judiciary issues with the government of the day. You remember the revisiting situation of 2018. And also, sometimes judiciary itself, in deploying the funds, there was a lot of corruption issues which came out sometimes during Mutunga's reign as the Chief Justice. And even after that, many things have happened in terms of how you spend the money that you get. You spend it for the right things. What are your priorities as a judiciary and judicial service commission? So I wouldn't speak for them, but there's a lot of, we see it every day. The impact is out here for common mananchi.
Is the law actually protecting the general population? And I say that because we go through just judicial processes whereby justice be our shield and defender, essentially, and so that's what we talk about in a place of protection for the people of Kenya. With all these things that we are seeing, delaying of cases, whether they be deliberate or otherwise, missing files, somebody who may have ripped off the government. I mean, just yesterday, what are we seeing? The EACC is talking about a public auction for a former governor's property because he's been in case, and a plea bargain has been used as a tool then to then be able to sort out issues. But the person who stole a chicken is serving 7 years in prison. No question about that. No opportunity for plea bargain. So when you look at the bigger picture, are the people of Kenya actually being protected by the law? And is everything being done to ensure that that protection is free and fair?
Yeah. I agree. I mean, those are very heavy questions that you are raising. It is the law, the existence of the law alone is actually a good deterrence. You will be surprised if we were to suspend a law for a minute. Even if you forget about the courts, just the law, the fact that people know that I'm not supposed to steal. If the moment you say you suspend, we do not have the law itself. You will not even have these glasses you are wearing, Dennis. People will steal them. It's chaos basically. So deterrence alone is good, but of course there are now those issues that you're saying in terms of access, quality, fairness, and all these things are things which are usually would like to say work in progress. There are things which you should always be calling out as.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your